The following is an exclusive presentation of Cablevision local programming. TV that's close to home.
Welcome to Meet the Leaders. I'm your host, Alice Grove. Tonight we focus on a man whose political career started at the age of 24. A lifelong resident of Dunellen, Councilman Bill McKenna has been living in the same home since he was an infant. His father always told him, "You have the obligation to help others." And by serving on town council, Bill McKenna hopes to do just that. When Meet the Leaders returns, Bill McKenna will give us insights into local government, politics, and teamwork. Stay with us.
On game day, about 6,000 people come out to see the North Bears. That's 74,000 fans a month, or the same number of Americans who are desperately waiting for organ transplants.
I'm Samantha Tinkham. I'm 12 years old, and I'm one of them.
And I'm Rick Cerrone of the North Bears. Please help my friend Samantha and the thousands of others waiting for transplants by becoming an organ donor. Because if you were in need, you'd believe in organ donation.
Oh, no, I'm not. What does this mean? Amazing grace, give me $1, I'll follow you home. Hi, I'm Robert Klein. Join me on New Joke City. Some wonderful New York comedians, a little music. Who knows, maybe some stars of tomorrow, straight from the Gotham Comedy Club, only on Metro. It's what makes New York, New York. Oh, man. Don't be afraid of me.
Our guest tonight is Bill McKenna. He's a young man who has taken the bull by the horns and jumped right into politics as a young man. Welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
You describe Dunellen as a unique town. Tell us about it. It's a small town. It's only a square mile, but tell us about the uniqueness of Dunellen.
Yes, it is a unique town. I'm actually proud of where I'm from. It's like you said, it's a mile square. We have, you know, a very small community, and we have things, a train station. We have our own school district. I graduated with 61 kids, and that was the largest class in 10 years. So I knew everybody in my town, and because of that uniqueness, I think it kind of played into when I went to school. I played 3 sports, and I was in the school paper and things like that. And basically, it was done out of necessity, because if you didn't play the sports or you weren't active, then you couldn't participate in anything, because then those things wouldn't be around for the other people who would want to do those.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. That was your high school experience then. You played football?
I played football, basketball, and baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I played all 3 sports.
And somehow you found time, too, to be the editor of the paper?
That's correct. And I think that kind of instilled in me a work ethic. My Thursday nights, my parents, God bless them, they would, on a Thursday night was really rough, because I'd have football, basketball, or baseball practice from 3 o'clock until 6. Then I would go to choir practice, because I was in the school choir. That would be for 2 hours. Then madrigal practice, which was a group of choir people, so that was another hour. Then if I was also in the school play, and that was on the second half of the year, that was another hour, hour and a half. And then I would go and work on the paper and finish it up to make sure it would get out by Friday for the deadline. So there were nights I'd spend at school till about midnight, sometimes 1 o'clock in the morning.
Thursday was the worst, though, huh?
Yeah, and my mother would always have a hot meal waiting for me when I got home. So.
Oh, boy, there's a family value.
Absolutely.
And did she tape Seinfeld for you?
Yeah, well, no, actually, we didn't have a VCR when I was in. We had cable, but we didn't have the VCR yet. But my friends would tape it for me, so I'd watch it over their house. So
yeah.
I'd miss that.
And you have a unique perspective, too, and having grown up in the town, and even a 1 square mile town, I'm sure, has had many changes.
Oh, yes. I mean, I think you can say it's a barometer of how society is in general. 20, 30 years ago, we actually had more a base for manufacturing. Nowadays, everything is goods and services. College education is now crucial Not saying it's a good or bad thing, but unfortunately, the way the economy has gone and the way the world economy has gone, an advanced degree is necessary, whether it's in college or electrician, things like that.
It's a necessity.
Absolutely. So unfortunately, with the advent of that, you do see that the blue-collar jobs aren't as prevalent as they once were. With Dunellen having our color disappear back in the '60s before I was born, you saw it coming then. Now with college degrees, my neighbors who used to be electricians and people like that are now college educated. They work in the city. They take the train into the city. So commuting is becoming a nightmare also. I mean, that's part of what we do. Everyone's getting away from the cities and moving into suburbs. But
into a small town.
that's correct, a small town, and you have a sense of community in our town because you basically know everybody. I mean, when you go to a PTA meeting, for a class, you're going to have 60, 70 people at best.
As a matter of fact, you left town. Was that tough to do, to go away to college?
It was. I think I did it to prove to myself that I could stand on my own 2 feet. I loved my town very much, but I wanted to see if I could do it for myself. Being in West Virginia, away from my mother and father, they did a great job, raising me, and I just wanted to see if I could do things for myself, because if I got myself into a jam where I couldn't finish an assignment, mom and dad aren't always going to be there, and I think I had to do that for myself.
And you were just far enough away that you
6.5 hours.
Too far to go home for help.
That's correct, yes.
Yeah.
And they were always a phone call away, and whenever I had problems, they were there to listen regardless of what time it was. So it's good to have that nice comfort level that you can have. So
they're very proud that you took the kind of courses you took, though, that you followed your interests from high school into college, and you took political science.
That's correct.
And history.
Right. Yes, I've always had a history affinity. My father, when I was growing up, I guess you can say we were unique because we would watch PBS. When a lot of people would watch sitcoms, I'd watch Nature and The American Experience. PBS has been a big factor in my life and my family's life.
Yeah.
I think that helped mold exactly the way I am. I mean, part of it, of course, is television. Growing up with it, it does affect you in one way or the other. And my parents made sure that I watched the PBS shows, so I would have a good understanding of things.
You can't go wrong with that. They're wonderful.
That's right. Yes.
Entertaining as well, and
They
educational.
were absolutely.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that stuff a great deal.
Yeah. I got to talk to not only your parents, but your college roommate.
Yes, Chris.
Chris was, yes. And he took the same course as you did.
Yes, he did. Yeah, we were 2 peas in a pod. He's from Clinton, New Jersey, which is right down the road from me. And we became friends instantly because you had 2 kids from New Jersey in the middle of West Virginia.
You didn't know each other before you went?
No, we didn't. Not at all. Ironically, we played our state baseball championship at his high school in North Hunterdon. And he was actually at the game, but he had no idea who I was. But now looking back, he's like, oh, now I know who you were. So, but we're really good friends now, and he comes to visit me, and I go visit him. I'm lucky to have a friend like that.
Yeah, but he tells me sometimes you're so busy that if he has tickets to the Devils game, you can't make it.
No, that's true. He sometimes thinks I should have my head examined because he has tickets to the Devils, and I'll say, Chris, I'd love to go, but I have to go to a flood control meeting, or I have a budget meeting. And he just shakes his head. He's like, I can't believe, you're 27, relax. So.
But what he can believe is what your teachers imparted to you in these political science classes,
right.
And that was a very civic ethic.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and he said he got it and you got it.
Yes, the professors I had, I think the 3 that influenced me the most at school, I'm sure they can't see this, unfortunately. Dr. Morzett, Dr. Rupp, and Dr. Mahoney, they instilled, first of all, they like to say political philosophy, because it's the idea of thought that is more important. And they basically broke down the word politics, meaning people. Like when you say Indianapolis, in Annapolis, it actually comes from the word people. So politics, unfortunately, today is a dirty word, whereas the actual meaning of it means people. And that's a job of a politician, is to make sure that you look after the people. And they would instill that every time they taught a lesson. Look, they would always incorporate that, and it was you wanted to do something. I mean, when people got out of school, like we had people that went to the Peace Corps and things like that. So I think, you know, that says, you know, a monstrous thing for those people, that their ideas of, you know, self-giving and self-worth are more important than the, I guess you can say, the monetary things, the monetary value.
And apparently you two feel similarly too, that that people that don't vote, you just don't get that. I mean, here we are in a democracy and it's being handed to us and they don't show up at the polls.
Right, and it disappoints me, and especially younger people. I mean, I could understand their apathy as far as saying, well, they don't, you know, there's no one up there who listens to me. Well, I always say they don't listen to you because you don't vote, and you don't, you mean, a couple years ago when MTV had Rock the Vote, I think that was a positive thing, meaning it brought people in my demographic, you know, between 18 and 35 into the political arena. And when I ran, a lot of my friends from high school went out and voted for the first time. And I was very proud of that. I made sure, you know, I went to make sure that they voted, and it showed that their vote counted too. I mean, it was really important because I actually won, I got the most votes, but the second vote getter, I beat by 25 votes. So, I mean, every vote really does count. And we had a high percentage of people vote that year. It was 70%, and it wasn't even a congressional race, or wasn't even a state race, it was just local.
Well, were you going around knocking on doors and asking people to vote?
Went to every single house.
Honest.
Yeah, I mean, what happened was I knew what I wanted to do, and I think that's a success for life in general. Know what you want to do, and don't be afraid to not know what you want to do. If you whether you know, it might sound ridiculous to somebody, if that's what you really want to do, you do it. I mapped out a strategy with the help of my campaign advisors, my dad Joe and my mother Judy. They made sure, they said, if you're going to convince people, you have to do it in person. A flyer won't do it.
That eye-to-eye contact means an awful lot.
A handshake, because when you go to a person's house, I even went to houses I knew that weren't going to vote for me. You know, I saw the signs for the other party, which was fine. I just wanted them to know who I was, and if, you know, I was elected, I would do my best to help them out because I represented them as well, and that's important to me. And at least if I walked away, they say, well, you know, I'm not going to vote for you, but I respect you for, you know, coming here today and speaking your views.
Well, I think that your youth probably impressed people, just that you showed up at the door and they said, hey, here's somebody who really wants to turn things around in a generation that doesn't care.
Yeah, I think that did play a positive role. I mean, it is a double-edged.
It actually worked for you.
Sure. I think also it's a double-edged sword sometimes. Being young, sometimes they think of it, they see, unfortunately, the news does spin negatively towards my generation. You do see things that are, you know, it makes my heart break sometimes to see some of the stories and things that happen to people my age. I was trying to reverse that, if you will, and I knew that the spotlight would be on me like it is today, and I would have to prove myself. So sometimes knowing that I had that much to prove, I'd have to go the extra mile to not only convince the people that voted for me, but to turn over those who didn't and say, well, you know, I didn't vote for him, but at least I know he's working hard. And
then on another level, once you were elected, you had to sit with a council who's saying, hey, he's the new kid. And when they say the new kid, they meant the new kid.
Literally, yeah. As a matter of fact, there are council members there have children older than me.
Yeah.
So I think at first it was a little awkward for some people. But I was able to, I sat down with every single one of them and told them exactly where I came from, what my views were on certain things, and hopefully accomplished, you know, that goal. And I think I did.
Well, we're going to find out a little bit more about actually what you did do once you got on council, and what you do for a living, and how you support yourself, and what your plans are for the future when we come back. So stay with us, and we'll be right back, so don't go away.
What is a hero? Are heroes born, or are they made? In after-school programs, your kids will uncover hidden strengths, discover they have the power to change their future, and find the hero inside themselves. Let us know you on after-school programs in your area. Call 1-800-USA-LEARN. After-school programs, helping kids find the hero within.
As a transplant surgeon, I know about life and death. I battle death every day, and I know that organ donation turns tragedy into life. Statistics show that minority citizens are reluctant to donate